Oh my goodness. What a result. Aston Villa are going into December in the top four, 1 point off Manchester City. We're level with Liverpool. I mean, can you believe it? Professor Unai Emery deserves, Michelangelo's David, right? He deserves to have a statue built for him by whoever can do this and just make it happen and stick it in the middle of Birmingham and force all Birmingham City fans to walk past it and bow their heads, knowing that this is what real football looks like, not Wayne Rooney. I mean, so today, I live down in London, mate. I live in London, and I went to an Arsenal pub. Right, I was in North London, and I went to a pub that's traditionally a bit Arsenal. So I went with one of my best mates in the world. He's a big Arsenal fan, and he was like, "This is the one day of the year I'm a huge Aston Villa fan. Is when Villa play Tottenham." So we watched the game together, and what I didn't realise was that the pub was full of Tottenham fans. It is traditionally an Arsenal pub, and I was like, hold on, it's all very quiet in here when Villa have the ball, but when Tottenham have the ball, it's getting a bit leery. Well, when Tottenham scored, it all got very loud, didn't it? And you couldn't say that goal wasn't coming. What frustrated me about the goal, though, from Lo Celso, was that it reminded me of the goal that Szoboszlai got for Liverpool against Villa earlier this season. And it was in a similar scenario where Liverpool pressed us very, very, very well, overwhelmed our midfield. Tottenham did the same thing. And it just kind of felt like the inevitable was coming. Liverpool got that goal in the, 6th minute, 7th, very, very early on. Tottenham got it in about the 20th, right? Both from the edge of the area, both from corners, both where you're thinking, why has he got the entire freedom of the state of Texas to hit this ball? It was, pretty annoying. But Villa held on. We you think back on it and you think Villa could have conceded 3 or 4 goals, but at the same time, Tottenham could have conceded 3 or 4, 2 or 3 as well. Villa had chances. Pau Torres' header, Ollie Watkins in the first minute. Villa did actually have chances, even though we didn't play well in the first half. We very much were lucky to come through that 1-1. And I think that watching it, it felt a bit like cash out on the right didn't work. And I understand why Emery did it, but the one thing I have with it is that I think McGinn is much more effective on the right than he is on the left, because I think that when McGinn can hassle a player out on the right, or if he gets the ball with his back to goal on the right, he can turn his beautiful wee booty, turn around, and against a high line, he did it against Liverpool when Jack Grealish scored in the 7-2. He did it against Liverpool last season when Ollie Watkins went through and won a penalty. And Liverpool are the high line team. When you play against a high line, I just feel like McGinn's whipped ball over the top is an incredible asset. Now, in the first half, there were occasions where he won the ball, turned, and he whipped the ball out to Luca Dean, and that led to Ollie Watkins' disallowed goal. I think if Dean was a more dynamic fullback, capable of beating a man, I would think that some of those balls would have led to a bit more danger. I do think that Dean still has a tendency to just try and whip the ball in, and it's quite predictable. That's just my view on it. But Watkins, that goal that Watkins scored, one angle looked onside and the other looked offside. But when I say offside, I mean barely. I mean, like a hair. If he was bold, it wouldn't have been. But then the other angle didn't look offside. Didn't see it. I could see why it took so long, but bringing semi-automated offsides, and you won't have that problem. So just bring it in. Pretty obvious, right? But it did feel like, Villa had to change something at half time. And the obvious thing was, I thought, bring Cash off, maybe put McGinn out right and put Ramsey out left if Ramsey's fit. Clearly, Ramsey's not fully fit yet, because if he was, I wonder if he'd have come on straight away. But instead, Tielemans, who's been playing very, very well recently, came on and went in as the second striker role. And Leon Bailey came on and went out right where Cash was. Now, I think that was interesting because I did wonder whether Diaby maybe, considering he's played right wing, for Leverkusen for a few seasons, he excelled there last year. I did wonder whether maybe we should just give it 15 minutes and see what Diaby does out on the right. Let's just see what happens. Because we've not yet seen him play out there for Villa yet. He's always as the second striker. So I was quite surprised to see him come straight off. But then, Bailey comes on, and I thought Bailey did, Bailey's really come to life this season. But I kind of thought Bailey was all right, but he could have been. He wasn't as good as he's been, is how I would say it in recent weeks. But he was good. He hit the post. So, but Tielemans much more comfortable. I think Tielemans and Bailey being out there was a massive upgrade on what we had in the first half. I think that Tielemans just was very good at winning the ball, playing football, being a bit more controlled. And it felt like in the second half as well, Kamara went a little bit deeper. And it just kind of felt like Villa started to slightly suck up the pressure, dictate the game a bit more. The ball started falling to us a bit more. We started playing better football, and we looked far more dangerous in the second half. And that tweak of bringing Kamara deeper, Tielemans been a player who was more comfortable on the ball, and Bailey just been a bit better out on the right than Cash was. Been a bit more threatening, worrying the opposition a bit more than Cash could, I think made a big difference. So it was as an electric game as I could imagine. A lot of Londoners in the pub were looking around at me like, who's this Grammy git down in this bloody pub? Well, I tell you, it was an Aston Villa fan looking around going, we are top four, mate. We're this. This is who we are. AVFC, hashtag. And just incredible. Because Villa, we've been to Newcastle away and Liverpool away, and we've been battered. We went to Lechia Warsaw. Tough atmosphere to cope with, and we didn't rise to it. And Forest, we conceded early. We had to get a big win away at a club that is competing for the top six, if that's where we want to be. Because our home form has been brilliant, but away from home, we're a work in progress. And I think that once we got that result today, it felt like a big moment to me. And it also felt like a game where I wonder if Emery's learned a few things from how that first half went and how the second half went. Because the first half reminded me a bit of Liverpool and Newcastle. And I thought there were occasions where Tottenham and their press was really, really intense. We did not play out at all. It felt like Kamara and Louise were just getting absolutely overwhelmed in the centre. Not because they're worse players than what Tottenham had, but just because of the volume of players that Tottenham had around, the sort of pressing structure that they had. It was very impressive from Tottenham, and given that Tottenham have so many injuries to key players, I think that they are onto a very exciting thing under Ange. I think the Tottenham and Villa fans should look at Ange and Unai Emery and be very, very excited with what they are going to witness in the next year. 3 losses in a row for Tottenham. I wouldn't be too worried about that if I was a Spurs fan. I think they'll come back from that. But for Villa, to get to make it 3 losses in a row away at Tottenham, extremely impressive. We rode a luck completely. A lot of Tottenham fans will be upset about the Bentancur injury with Cash. I personally think it came straight after the Ollie Watkins disallowed goal, so I wonder if it was a bit of frustration. Silly from Cash, shouldn't have done it. But it wasn't a red card, I don't think, but not great. I think if someone did that to a Villa player, I'd be pretty upset. But look, it happens. And overall, I think what I would say is I think Emery maybe learnt a few things about Villa, particularly with how we coped in the second half, and we looked far more comfortable. And I just wonder whether that first half display will just say to him, we need to be a little bit more careful away from home against these type of teams like a Tottenham or a Liverpool, and maybe just concede a little bit of space, maybe concede a little bit deeper, but still with the high line. Because what the high line does, which is so amazing, it gives the illusion that the other team had loads of chances because the offside flag goes up so much and they score so many offside goals. Tottenham didn't actually have amazing chances in the second half, but it felt like they did. First half, they had, first 10 minutes. My God, it could have been 3-3 in the first 10 minutes. There were so many chances. But yeah, I think second half, you look more composed. It was really good. And a great to see our manager react, and acknowledge that he hasn't got it right in the first half and he has to change it. He did, and it worked. Elite coaching. Brilliant coaching. A genius. What a man. Pau Torres, incredible header. I was in the middle of that Tottenham pub when it went in. I jumped up and I literally went, Pau Torres, you beautiful, handsome man. Took leave of my senses. And the Tottenham fans looking at me like, you brummy, who do you think you are coming down here to my pub? You're ruining my day, mate. It would have been like an EastEnders Christmas Carol, Christmas special. Misery all the time. Bury me under the pub or something. But it wasn't misery for Villa today, was it? It was misery for the Cockneys, but not for the Villa. Amazing. Right, look. I think Tottenham are a top side. What an amazing coach Ange is. They're going to be very exciting to watch. But what a coach Unai Emery is. What a team Aston Villa are. And my goodness. Lechia Warsaw next. Bournemouth away. Man City at home. Arsenal at home. Tough. But would you bet against Aston Villa? Would you bet against Professor Unai Emery? Like and subscribe. If you think Villa are going to win all them, subscribe to this channel. Up the mighty Villa.